Guys, some major breaking news. Julio Jones has been traded from the Atlanta Falcons to the Tennessee Titans. It's expected to officially go through within the next 2 days, but it is basically official. Atlanta is trading Julio Jones to the Titans, what is believed to be for a second and a fifth, or a second and a pick swap. No first round picks involved. Devastating news for Falcons fans, especially these new age Falcons fans who have become a fan of the team since the Matt Ryan, Julio Jones era started, so within the last 10 years or so. This is major news for both teams and for the NFL as a whole. This is the first blockbuster player to be traded since DeAndre Hopkins. And once again, it's another wide receiver trade where the value just isn't there. And it's confusing to me. Julio Jones, in my opinion, and in many NFL fan opinions, still the best wide receiver in the league. So to go for a second and then probably a fifth round pick swap is embarrassing for the Falcons. They're getting fleeced. There's no question about it. And for a new GM like Terry Fontenot to come in and do something like that is going to really leave a bad stain. And it's going to disappoint and lose the trust, the potential trust of many Falcons fans. That's not something you do as a new GM. That's not something that I don't think he had the authority to do, really. And, you know, I understand it's a difficult position to be in, but trading away Julio Jones isn't going to solve the cap situation long term, really. You know, you still have to pay a ridiculous dead cap for next season, and unless there's some kind of deal agreed to lower that, I just don't see what the purpose of trading him is. Now, would he have wanted to sit out? I don't know if he would have wanted to sit out if we were to keep him. I don't think he would be the type to sit out, but then again, look what he's done for this team in terms of, you know, kind of being dramatic in a way. I have to say it. He is a bit of a drama queen, but people just don't talk about it because he's Julio Jones. Every offseason, it feels like he unfollows the Falcons on Instagram, doesn't show up to training camp, then he has to talk to Arthur Blank one-on-one, and then he gets a 2-year extension. It feels like this happens every single offseason. It's like he's never satisfied with what he has. This is a team that has pretty much given everything to him. This is a team that promised him contract extensions and promised him that all this and that. And I understand the team's not in a great position right now to win, but they were in the Super Bowl. This is a team that, can, in my opinion, can compete. And I'm sure, according to the head coach, it might also be able to compete. You know, I think he's been a bit dramatic in recent years. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, but it's fine because look what he's done for the team. But still, you know, for a guy who's expected to be this leader, for a guy who's very well known to be this quiet guy who puts his head down and does work, that's not the case. He doesn't train hard. He often misses practices. And, you know, I can understand why he was upset with the way Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff handled things. Maybe he's upset with the way Arthur Blank has handled things. But we've got a new coaching regime. We've got a new GM. Why not give it a chance for one season, or at least half a season? And if he has to get traded halfway through the season, do that. I just think this is an awful decision by Terry Fontenot. If this is literally just to clear up cap to sign free agents and rookies, I just don't understand the move. I really don't, unless Julio really wanted out to the point where he was going to sit, because we're not getting a good return for him. This is a player that is worth at the least a first-round pick for a Super Bowl contending team for the Titans, who are probably going to be picking in the late 20s. You know, it's almost a third-round pick. This is an embarrassing return. We've gotten fleeced by the Titans, and the Titans are in a Super Bowl winning position now. I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill is as good as Matt Ryan, because I don't think he's as good as Matt Ryan. I think they're at a similar level. You know, I don't think Julio Jones is going to be the player he was with Atlanta as he's going to be with Tennessee. I think he's going to drop off a little bit, but I think that's natural. You know, Julio Jones has been unbelievable for so long. You know, it's a different team. I don't think he'll be the same player. I mean, it's an embarrassing trade for Atlanta. It's a great trade for Tennessee because they're hardly giving up anything to get, you know, at least a good 2 or 3 years on a legitimate Super Bowl run every season. As for, you know, the Falcons, what's in it for them now? Well, they've got Calvin Ridley, who has proven he's a number 1 receiver. He is potentially a top 5 receiver. easily a top 10 receiver. He's potentially a top 5 receiver. He could take a step up. He doesn't even really need to take that big of a step up, because he already had 1,400 yards last season. He was a great player, and his fantasy stock is going to shoot up like crazy because he's the new number 1 guy. Russell Gage is the number 2. I'm not positive about it. I think he's good, but he's a good slot guy. I don't think he's a guy that's going to get 1,000 yards. We're going to need to find yards elsewhere. And Arthur Smith likes a 2 tight end personnel. I personally am not a huge fan of Hayden Hurst. Kyle Pitts, he needs to have an instant impact. If this team wants to have success this year, he's the guy that needs to have a big year. He's going to be the difference between an offense that puts up 20, 21, 22 points per game and an offense that puts up 26, 27, 28 points per game. If he can get himself 1,000-yard receiving rookie year, then we shouldn't have a problem. He could very well be our next Julio Jones, and I brought this up in the mock draft. I brought this up on draft night when we drafted Kyle Pitts. There was always that small chance that by drafting Kyle Pitts, Julio Jones was going to be shown the exit door, whether it be now, next year, year after. He was going to be the guy to replace Julio Jones, and that's exactly what's happened. He's going to be a big wide receiver that plays tight end. We're going to pay him like a tight end. I don't think the Falcons will sorely miss Julio Jones because we've played without him for a lot of the last 2 seasons. But, you know, it's never easy to lose your number 1 guy who's been around the team for so long. Matt Ryan is really the only player left of this old age Falcons, you know, between 2008 and, you know, up to the Super Bowl defeat, and then the year after where we made the playoffs and lost to Philly. He's like the last big player of that bunch, him and Deion Jones, really, that were at that high level back then. So I think I wouldn't say this is the indicator of a rebuild, because I don't think it's a rebuild. I guess you're just trying to deal with problems now so you can have some cap later. I don't understand the move if I'm the Falcons. If I'm Terry Fontenot, I don't understand the move. Arthur Smith, I don't understand the move. You just felt like, I thought if there was any team he was going to go to, it was going to be the Titans. It just felt like that was going to be where he was going to go. Arthur Smith, being a former Titans guy, of course, he's going to have a preference to send him to his old team. Titans are in the AFC. Titans are a Super Bowl contender. It is the ideal location for Julio Jones, not named the Kansas City Chiefs, really. So it seems right. I'm not mad at where he's going. It's not a team that we really have to face, to deal with for a little while. Specifically, we're not going to be worried about it. We only play them once every 4 years, so it's not that big of a deal. But it's a move that hurts, for sure. Julio Jones is my sports idol, my role model for me growing up. He was the guy. He's my favorite player ever, and for him to leave, it's bittersweet, and it's something, I guess, because it's been building for some time now, it doesn't hurt as much as it probably would have if it was just, snap of a finger. But, it is what it is. Hopefully now we can get a couple more good years out of Matt Ryan, and then, the new era will start soon. Let's get a couple more years. Let's get a Super Bowl run, and let's see what happens. But let me know what you think, Falcons fans, Titans fans, NFL fans, in the comment section down below. Do you think the Falcons got fleeced? I do. Titans, do you think they're Super Bowl contenders? Do you think they're right up there with the Bucs, probably? Right? Bucs and Chiefs, I think those are the 3 teams. Bucs, Chiefs, and Titans are probably the 3 teams to look at right now for a Super Bowl. But, it's hard. It's very hot out, so there's not much I can say here. So take care, guys. Peace. Like the video. Subscribe as well. Thank you very much.